Hi, everyone. Good to see all of you again on our call today for our Mental Health on the Mat, which is our Thursday yoga lunch class. Um, as always, make yourself comfortable. We're going to start with a little meditation. I'll do some introductions and then we will get busy with our movement for today. Make sure you've taken your shoes off if you are at your desk for lunch today. Um, you can stop at any point, so you can join and leave the call whenever feels good for you, depending on how long your lunch break is. You can follow along with any movements that feel good for your body and just kind of ignore the ones that don't feel good for your body. Um, yeah, we'll get started there. So my name is Kelsey Wyman. I am a therapist in Washington State and also a yoga teacher, and I love combining mental health tools with yoga practice. Our theme for January has been setting intentions and goal setting, kind of following like New Year's resolutions as a theme. And today, our specific theme is going to be around boundaries. So, as we have all of these ideas and inspirations and things that we are wanting to do with our life, it's really important that we also have an understanding of where our boundaries are so that we don't hit burnout, so that we can achieve the goals that we have for ourselves, and so that we're setting realistic expectations for ourselves of what we can do and like really taking time for ourselves to set those boundaries and relax and take the space and um, time we need to let everything that we're accomplishing integrate too. All right, we're going to start with a little meditation setting an energetic boundary. And then I'll move to the mat and we will do kind of a seated slash standing warm up flow. And then the meat of our class today will be going through some sun salutations and adding on to that. All right, so find your seat, find the way that you want to be for this meditation. You can do it standing, you can do it walking, you can do it seated, you can do it laying. I'll cue for seated poses, but whatever your body needs to do to feel comfortable for the meditation. So let's all take a breath together, letting our exhale out as fully and completely as we can, sucking in our core. And when we reach the bottom, breathing in through your nose, breathing into your belly, breathing into your lungs, breathing into your throat, into your head. Biggest breath you've had all day. And sigh and let everything go, let everything out. We'll do that 2 more times just to sink into the moment here. Breathing in and sighing everything out, maybe making a sound. And one last time at your own pace. And sighing everything out. Beautiful. All right, to explore these boundaries, you can keep your eyes open for the moment and take your hands and rub your hands together to build a little bit of heat in your hands. And when you can feel the heat in your hands, you know the blood is flowing and your hands will be sensitive, you're going to stop that and begin to just feel the boundaries of your body. So you can place your hands on your legs, on your arms, gentle squeezes, maybe your face or your neck or your head. And as you do this and you begin to build some awareness about where your body is in space and time, pay attention to how your body feels underneath your fingers and how your fingers feel on your body. This is the boundary of your physical body. If any spot feels good to touch longer or massage a little bit longer, go ahead and stay there. Check in with yourself and notice if there's anywhere that you're maybe avoiding touching, avoiding finding awareness of. And if it feels okay, just give that spot a little bit of attention. Beautiful. And now we're going to release our hands from our bodies and stretch them out in opposite directions as far as we can reach to find the boundaries of our reach. So you can stretch at a diagonal. You might reach up together, maybe forward together, back. Find the edges of your reach here. If you want to add in your legs to this, you can go ahead and add in your legs to this. And as you do this, if it feels good and safe in the space that you're in, you can maybe begin to close your eyes. And as you reach out and touch the spaces around you, the boundary of where you can reach, you can imagine a nice, energetic eggshell being built around you, something that feels comforting and safe. It can be made of any colors or textures. It can be permeable or solid. And when you've got a good, solid, or permeable egg built around you, and your eyes are still closed, you can go ahead and let your hands rest in your lap. Let your awareness focus on that boundary that you've created for yourself. And set an intention to be able to block out anything that's not serving you and allow in anything that feels good and right and in alignment for you. Beautiful. All right, you can go ahead and open your eyes. Thank your little eggshell for the protection it's providing you. We're going to go ahead and move on to some stretches for today. You can find yourself wherever you are for your meditation if that's a good spot to move. And if not, you can make your way to your mat. We're going to start just by rolling everything and warming up all of our joints. So go ahead and tuck your chin to your chest. Roll your left ear to your left shoulder. Roll your chin to the sky. Gently and slowly, right ear to right shoulder. And tucking your chin to your chest. Continue this movement around, waking up your neck. See if you can tie your breath to this movement, letting your chin raising be the top of your inhale and your chin lowering be the bottom of your exhale. And we'll go ahead and switch direction. Again, remembering everything in this class is an offering. Every movement is a suggestion. But you're listening to your body, building that internal awareness. What feels good to you and what doesn't. Go ahead and bring your chin parallel to the floor. And we're going to start with our shoulders, rolling them forward, up, and back. Switching directions, rolling back and forward. And rolling forward, up, and back. One more time to squeeze our shoulder blades behind us a little bit, opening through the chest. Inhaling our arms out to the side, palms facing up. Bend in the elbows to touch your shoulders and send your elbows forward and around. Switching directions here. And letting your arms rest on your lap or down by your side. We're going to lead with our collarbone as we bring our chest forward over to the left side. Grab onto your knees as you round your upper back behind you. Send it to the right side and leading with your collarbone in the front again, making these circles all the way around. We'll switch directions here. One of the things to reflect on with boundaries as we go through our practice today is there are many areas you can have boundaries in, specifically thinking about self-care and what self-care boundaries you want, any physical boundaries about what does or doesn't happen to your body, emotional boundaries, and relationship boundaries. Go ahead and let your hands drop. Walk your left hand out to the side and plant your palm on the ground as you lean over to the left a little bit. Reach your right arm up long in the opposite direction. And we're going to be doing large arm circles, leaning into the left arm just to give our right arm space to move around. Switching and going in the opposite direction there. Beautiful. And to the opposite side, right hand down, left arm up, leaning to the right side. Switching directions. And coming back to center. Stick your legs out in front of you. If you're on a chair doing these warm-ups, that's okay. You can come to the edge of your seat, straighten your legs, and lift your toes up off the ground. We're going to bring our left ankle over top of our right thigh. Left knee to the side and give ourselves some ankle rolls for warm-up here. When I talk about boundaries for today's practice, I want to reflect on this idea, sort of the working definition I'm using for a boundary, is that it's a course of action you take to take care of yourself when a set of circumstances arises. Let's go ahead and switch out our feet, right ankle over left thigh, rolling that around. A course of action you take to take care of yourself when a set of circumstances arise. So a boundary is not a demand for other people to follow. It's not an expectation, an ultimatum, or an idle threat. A boundary is simply you taking care of yourself. Alrighty, let's go ahead and come to standing in the middle of our mat. And we're going to work with the 6 movements of our spine and add in some breath as we do this. So find a good mountain pose, feet hip distance width apart, stacking your joints, shoulders above your hips, palms facing forward, chin parallel to the floor. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, bend in the elbows. To cactus your arms to the side, imagine a string behind you pulling your elbows together. Chin to the sky, mini back bend here in your upper back. Finding the extent to which your back can arch. Take a breath into the front line of your body, and we're going to exhale, bring our arms forward, fold forward, hinge at the hips into a forward fold. Down here, breathe into the heart space in between your shoulder blades. Let your hands and head just hang out. Inhale, back up to standing, arms up high. Exhale to bend in the elbows. Inhale to send your arms up. Exhale, forward fold again. We're going to go a little bit faster as we do this. So we'll inhale up into cactus arms, back bend, and exhale down into our forward fold. Inhale back up to center. Let your arms hang down by your side. Switching now to side lateral movements for warming up our spine. Inhaling our right hand up, reaching over to the left side as our left hand drops down. Inhaling back up to center. Exhaling this time to the right side. Inhaling to center. Exhaling to the opposite side. Inhaling to center, exhaling to the right. Inhaling to center and letting your arms drop down. Go ahead and bring your arms in front of you, working on our spiral line. So we'll be twisting. You're going to open your left hand behind you. Right hand stays in front of you. Gaze is going to follow your left hand back. And exhaling, bringing that left hand to meet the right in the front and opening to the right side. Exhale to bring it back to center. Inhale to open. Exhale to close. Inhale to open. And exhale to close. Let's go through those all together now, finding our range of movement in our spine. What feels good for our body to move? Inhale, bring those arms up. Cactusing to the side. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms up. Exhale to the left. Inhaling up, exhaling to the right. Inhale, arms forward, reaching back to the left. Exhale, closing together. Inhaling to the opposite side. And exhaling back to center. One more time at your own pace, following your own breath. I want to share some examples of boundaries, what a boundary is and what a boundary isn't. So a boundary is when we make a request and it has positive and negative consequences. A positive consequence of a boundary is if I make this request and you are able to meet this request, I will feel respected and connected. A negative example, going through the flow one more time, of a boundary is if I make this request and you are unable to meet my boundary, then I will do something to take care of myself. I will take space. I will talk to somebody. I will take a bath. And let it all go. Beautiful. Let's move into our flow for the day. We're going to come down onto our knees in tabletop position, placing our hands below our shoulders, knees below our hips, dropping our belly down to sink into cow pose. Inhale, up. And you can choose to play around with which of these postures, cat and cow, is the inhale and which is the exhale. You can add in some intuitive movement, listening to your body, maybe rocking side to side. And finding some stability and stillness with a neutral spine, gaze towards your hands. We're going to engage our left hand and right knee as we send our right hand forward. You can pick up your left knee and just leave your toes on the mat as variation 1. Or you can stretch that leg out behind you. I never have enough room in this space for it to come into a balancing table pose here. Hold for a moment. Again, you can have your toes on the ground if that's more helpful. And exhale everything back to your tabletop position. Switching sides, grounding down through your right hand, left knee. Left hand reaches forward. Right toe can tuck and your knee lift. You can straighten that leg or you can lift that leg. So 3 variations to practice listening to your body, how your body wants to move. And exhaling everything back down to the mat. Bring your right hand directly below you as you lift your left hand to the sky, opening in a twist. Exhale, thread the needle, sending that left hand under your right armpit. You can leave your shoulder lifted or bend in your right hand to place that shoulder on the ground. Pressing into your right hand to untwist. Left hand back up to the sky before planting down on the mat. With your left hand directly below your chest, you're going to inhale your right hand high. Exhale to send it under. Again, you can keep your left arm straight, or you can bend in that left arm to slowly lower your right shoulder down to the mat. Untwisting, coming back up to center before returning to our tabletop. Tuck your toes behind you, press into your hands, lift your knees, send your hips to the sky for downward dog. You can adjust your feet, pedal out your legs if you want to, but focus on sinking your shoulders down into the mat as your hips lift up. Begin to walk your feet towards your hands, bending in the knees if you need to. Then lift your hands up off the mat, clasp onto opposite shoulders for a ragdoll. Just hang out here for a moment. See how much you can let your upper body relax here. Releasing your arms in either with a flat back or rolling on up. Come to standing at the top of your mat. Now we're going to move through the sun salutation a few times today, kind of as a transition, and we'll add on. So I'll go through it once with all of you, and then you can see the pieces that we add on to it today. Starting in mountain pose, palms down facing the front. Inhale your arms up. Exhale into a forward fold, hinging at the hips, reaching down towards the ground. Inhale, slide your hands along your shins for a halfway lift. Exhale, bend in the knees to plant your hands down on the mat in front of your feet and step your feet back into plank pose. Plank is another option to set a boundary with yourself. Maybe strive to keep your legs straight or release your legs to the mat as you slowly lower yourself down to come to lay on the mat. With your hands underneath your shoulders, squeeze your legs together. Inhale your chest up off the mat for baby cobra. And exhale to relax back down. Tuck your toes, press up into your hands, lifting your knees, hips to the sky, back into downward dog. Begin to walk your feet towards your hands. And either with a flat back or rolling on up, lift your upper body, hands up to the sky. And exhaling, hands down to your side, palms facing forward. So that's our little sun salutation variation. Now let's add on to it. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant those hands down. Step back into plank. Choose the level you want to work at today and lower down onto the mat. Inhale, lifting your chest for baby cobra. Exhale, pressing those hips to the sky for downward dog. Press into the mat with your hands and your right foot. Pick up your left foot. We're going to send it forward as far as it wants to go today. Keeping our back heel lifted, lift your hands, raise your chest, come into a crescent lunge. Inhale to reach up with your hands. Exhale to sink down deeper into this lunge. And fold forward at the hips. Plant your hands down on the mat on the inside of your left foot. Send that left foot back. Hips to the sky into downward dog again. And walk your feet forward. Come on up to standing. Arms up and exhale them down to your side. Repeating this up on the opposite side. Inhaling those arms up, exhaling into forward fold. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale, making your way all the way down to the mat, passing through plank. Into baby cobra. And pushing through to downward dog. This time picking up your right foot, sending it forward as far as it wants to go today, keeping your back heel lifted, raising your arms up, palms facing each other. Crescent lunge on the right side. Inhale to lift those arms. Exhale to sink down deeper. Hinge forward at the waist. Plant your hands on the mat. Send that right leg back. Hips to the sky for downward dog. Walk on forward. And come on up to mountain. Great. Let's keep going. Inhale those arms up. And exhale into our forward fold. Halfway lift. Plant those hands on the mat. If I'm going too fast for you, or your body needs to do something else, please listen. You can do this slowly. It's a repetitive practice, so if you need to skip any parts and join us for the parts you're able to, please do that. We'll all meet together in downward dog. Again, bringing our left leg forward, rising on up into that crescent lunge. This time we're going to add some twists. So send your right hand forward, left hand back to open into a twisted lunge. Inhale those arms up. And we're going to exhale, left hand forward, right hand back as we drop our back heel down, toes out at a 45-degree angle. Inhale to reach wide. Exhale to sink lower into this lunge. Cartwheel your arms forward down to the mat. Send that left leg back. Pause in downward dog just for a moment before walking forward to come back up into mountain pose. Great job, everyone. All right, let's keep going. Inhale those arms up and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale all the way down to the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale. Oop, not halfway lift, sorry, cobra. Cobra to downward dog. And we're going to send our right leg forward this time. Back heel stays lifted as we come up into crescent. Sending our left hand forward, right hand back, twisting to the right side. Back heel stays lifted. Bringing those arms up. Now our back heel drops, toes at a 45-degree angle. Right hand forward, left hand back. Inhale to reach wide. Exhale, sink deeper into this lunge. And cartwheel your hands down to the mat. Right foot back, hips to the sky. In our familiar downward dog. Walk on forward. Come on up to standing. And we'll do this flow one more time, adding on another warrior pose. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale all the way down to the mat. Taking your time to go through this. We'll meet all together in downward dog. To send our left foot forward. Rising up into our crescent lunge. Twisting first, right hand forward, opening to the left side. Dropping that back heel, left hand forward in our warrior two. And from here, we're going to move into badass warrior, which is a beautiful warrior pose for boundaries. So keep your feet as they are. Keep your left hand reaching forward. Bring those fingers to the sky like you're saying stop. Raise your right hand up to the sky, palm facing forward. Bend in your right elbow at a 90-degree angle, keeping those fingers straight like your hand is a dagger. We're going to inhale here. And as we exhale, begin to lift your front heel. Come up onto your toes. It's a tricky pose, but you can hold it. Feel the strength. Maybe say a boundary that you have in your head. Feel the power of this pose. Then exhale, release that heel back down to the mat. Send your hands down forward. Left foot back, hips to the sky in downward dog. Walk on forward towards your hands. Come up to standing in mountain pose. Repeating on the opposite side, inhaling those arms up. Exhaling down. Inhaling halfway lift. Exhaling all the way down to the mat. Baby cobra. It's probably just regular cobra, but I like to call it baby cobra. Hips to the sky. Sending your right leg forward this time, coming up to that crescent lunge. Left hand forward for our twist. Both hands to the sky. Right hand forward, left heel down to warrior two. Reach that right hand forward. Bring those fingertips up to the sky like you're saying stop. Inhale that left hand high, palm facing forward, bend the elbow at a 90-degree angle. Come up onto those front right toes, lifting that heel. Find your balance, find your power, find your strength, find your boundary. And release that heel down, circle your arms forward, send your right foot back, hips to the sky. Walk on forward into mountain pose and roll on up. Wonderful job, everyone. We're gonna pass on through. Inhale our arms up, exhale into our forward fold. Rise for our halfway lift. And this time we're gonna come down into tabletop pose. Bring our big toes together, bring our knees to the edges of our mat. Sink our weight back on our heels, walk our hands forward, and come to rest in child's pose. You can check in with yourself. How was it setting that boundary? Notice anything that comes up in you when you do that. You're welcome to stay here as long as you want to rest and reflect in child's pose. Each of us has different relationships with what it feels like to set boundaries. Some people feel powerful, some people feel vulnerable. We're going to keep moving with our flow today by bringing our hands underneath our shoulders, lifting our weight forward, tucking our toes, coming back into downward dog, one of our main poses of the day. We're going to move into three-legged downward dog. Again, find a variation that feels good for you. Option 1 is just to bend your left knee. Option 2 is to lift your left leg up to the sky in a straight line. And option 3 is to bend that left leg, opening your hips to the left side in scorpion pose. Untwisting, coming back to downward dog. And on the same side, same thing. 3 choices to listen to yourself. Bending in your right leg, lifting your right leg up to the sky, or bending that right leg over to the left side. And bringing that leg down. In my yoga teacher training, they played a prank on us, and I won't play the prank on you, but I will tell you what we will be doing that was similar. So in the yoga teacher training, they asked us to hold plank pose, and they said, keep holding it, and we held it for so long. And afterwards, they said, why did you hold it so long when you weren't having fun anymore? Why didn't you listen to yourself instead? So today we're going to do a variation of that. We're going to come into plank pose together, and we'll all end plank poses at different times. So listen to your body. If you don't want to do it, you can hop down into child's pose. If you do want to do it, you can follow along. And rather than listen to my cues, listen to your own body for when it is time for you to be ready to be done. Go ahead and make sure your index fingers are parallel to each other on the mat. You're pressing down into all 10 fingers in your hands, all 4 corners of your palms. Stretch your legs out long behind you. Engage your core and your glutes. And hold plank pose. Here you can begin to decide where your boundaries are. Is it an emotional boundary? Do you just not want to do it anymore? Is it a physical boundary? Maybe you stop when your arms start to shake. Maybe it's a self-care boundary. Let's all meet together in child's pose if you're still in plank pose. You can keep going if you want, or you can join us in child's pose again. Again, reflecting on how it was for you to set that boundary for yourself. We're going to shift our weight forward and come to a seat on our mat, bringing our legs. Well, we're actually going to bring them as close to our sits bones as we can, but let's lay down first. We're going to do some bridge pose. And for our bridge pose, we want our heels as close to our sits bones as possible. Our hands, palms down on the mats next to us. We'll breathe into our belly. And as we exhale, we're going to squeeze our glutes, lift our hips. We're not pressing into the mat with our hands, just using our core to lift our hips here. And as you exhale, roll your spine down onto the mat. And we'll do this again. Inhaling, breathing into our belly. And exhaling, squeezing our glutes as we lift our core. And if you have a yoga block, if you use those for you around you, you can place it under your hips. I'll use my hands sometimes, so I'll make fists with my hands, place my fists under my sacrum, and lower my sacrum onto my fists. Make sure you're not hurting either your sacrum or your fists. But this can help allow your sacrum to release in a new way. Breathing into your belly, engaging your core, lifting your hips off of your hands, removing your hands out from underneath of you, and rolling all the way down. Go ahead and lift your heels up to the sky. You can do this with your legs against the wall if it's easier. And go ahead and exhale. Reach your right leg long down on the mat. Bring your hands around your left knee and pull that left knee closer to your chest. My body is pretty flexible, so for the next move, make sure that you find an adaptation that works for your body. We're going to be reaching our right hand towards the inside of our left foot. Your leg can stay bent, or you can straighten that leg. If you can't reach all the way, you can reach towards your knee or towards your ankle. We're going to bring our left hand to the mat beside us, reaching out. And we're going to bring our left foot over our body towards our right hand as we pull our right hand towards the floor. Coming back to center, switching out our hands again. If you can reach your left hand to your foot and straighten that leg, that's great. If not, keep your leg bent. If not, keep your arm around your calf or ankle. And if not, keep your hand around that knee. And we'll be sending our knee and our foot into the left hand. As it drops to the left side, right hand reaches on the right side. And coming back up to center, give yourself one more squeeze towards your chest, and then stretch your left leg out long as you bring your right knee up into your chest. Starting with your left hand reaching towards the inside of that right foot. Remember, you have a bunch of different variations you can do to try this. Right hand to the side, left hand over to the left side. And back to center, switching that out. Right foot drops into your right hand on the right side. And coming back to center. We're gonna end pretty much as we always do because it's my favorite pose ever, with our knees into our chest. And you can, if you want to, go into a happy baby, but somehow finding a little massage for your low back. And then, of course, as always, you can take some time to do any last movements your body needs to feel complete with your movement practice for today. And before we meet all together in stillness in Shavasana, I'd like you to do one more boundary activity. Maybe we'll do two more. Okay. We're gonna reach our feet long in front of us as if we would be laying in Shavasana, but we're gonna take our fingertips and we're going to find the edges of our mat. And we're just gonna walk our fingertips along the edges of our mat, reaching up overhead, finding the corners. And we're gonna begin to do the same with our feet. Feeling around, looking for the edges, the boundary of your mat. Letting yourself know this can be your safe little space for Shavasana. And our last little boundary activity we're going to try today is more of an energetic one. I'd like you to take your hand or your arm and you can just kind of leave it in the air so you have some space around it. And your other hand, you're going to bring with your eyes closed as close to your hand as you can without touching it. And practice starting from far away and drawing that hand closer to the opposite hand, again, without touching it, with your eyes closed. And as you do this a few times, starting far away and getting closer and closer, see if you can notice when you begin to tell that they are close to each other. Can you begin to feel a different sensation in the hand that is moving or in the hand that is still, that tells you that something is close by? This is building awareness of your energetic body, which sometimes exists in different space than our physical body. All right, you can play around with that or let that practice go. You can lay on your back, you can lay on your side, you can lay however is comfortable for you to fully release into Shavasana for today. My voice will drop off in a moment and I will guide you when it is time to come out of Shavasana and return to the rest of your day. Finding your way to a wakeful moment, bringing some light into your eyes, wiggling your fingers and toes, and eventually making your way to a seated position in your own time, in your own way. You can offer yourself a moment of gratitude, a hug, a bow, something to thank yourself for showing up for your practice today. Um, this will be my last live class for a while. I'll still be uploading Mental Health on the Mat classes at noon on Thursdays, a full class. And we'll return to the live classes after a few months. I've also had a request to do shorter yoga videos, so I'll do little yoga nugget videos that are 10-minute, 15-minute, or 20-minute videos that might be a little bit easier to digest throughout your workday. So you can look forward to that. For now, it's been really, really lovely to have all of you here. I'll miss seeing you live, but I'm happy that I'll get back to that again at some point. So for now, thank you so much. And I will share a video with you next week. Thanks, everyone.